Would you like to become a fascinating personality, break free from plateaus, and gain power over your mental resources and your full potential? You came to the right place. Welcome to a magical journey to yourself. This show is made in Germany. If you like the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or puremindmagic.club. Welcome to Season 1, Shaping Your Reality. And here is your host, international magician, speaker, and book author, Victoria Mavis.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pure Mind Magic and December 18th of the Advent Calendar. The only Advent Calendar that has no calories but only makes you smarter. Today I have an expert guest and we are really talking about experts. His name is T. Allen Hannes, and he's all about how you position yourself as the authority in your field. So we will talk about that and also the authority code behind it, because he has unlocked a code to really become the authority in your field. T. Allen just loves helping entrepreneurs and business owners get the recognition they deserve through publishing and media. And I have to say, he has a tremendous network all around the world and in the media to really help you get visible and get your message and product out. So we will talk and reveal the authority code today to help you make the transition to really become an expert. Before talking about all the secrets and the authority code with T. Allen, here is my gift tip for today. I know a lot of you are really readers because successful people are known for reading a lot. And sometimes when you are traveling, it can kind of get heavy with all the paper books in your luggage. For that, there is the Kindle, so you can download all the books, including the authority code by T. Allen, to your Kindle and just read it there without having all this heavy luggage. And the Kindle is out for several years already, but now there is a new version that I found. It's the Kindel Oasis E-Reader Graphite. It has a high resolution display. It is even waterproof and has Audible built in directly. So you can not only read your Kindle books, but also can listen to your Audible books there, like all your audiobooks. So you have everything in one place to learn more, to grow your business, and also to grow your expert status. So check that out. As usually, you will find the link for this new Kindle e-reader in the show notes that go with this episode directly below the audio file in the text marked in red for Christmas. And now let's welcome the great and amazing network master, T. Allen Hannes. Hi, T. Allen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Victoria. Thanks for having me. Super excited.
You're welcome. I couldn't wait to have you on because I had the honor to be on your show, the T. Allen Hannes show. That was an amazing conversation, and I'm so happy that you are joining me today at Pure Mind Magic.
Oh, yes. It was a great conversation, and thank you for being on my show. Absolutely.
Thanks. So let's continue that and bring it to the next level. And for all the listeners that are new to the show, can you give a short overview of who you are, T. Allen, and what you are doing?
Yes. Again, T. Allen Haynes. I'm the founder and creator of the Authority Syndicate. And what we do is we create opportunities for entrepreneurs and business owners so they can leverage for people to pick them over their competition. And we do that through publishing and media.
That is so interesting. And I think that fits in every field and even with magicians, because there is also a lot of magicians out there. And then there's always the question, why do some companies pick exactly that one? And I hope, T. Allen, that you reveal a few of your secrets today, because I think authority is everything that matters nowadays to really be the top expert. So what would you say, what are the key elements that define an authority?
Well, that's a great question, and thanks for asking it. And it's always been, when you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you're solving problems in the marketplace, of course, and that's part of being an entrepreneur. But when people get started, they have this thing called marketing that they're supposed to be doing. And people get caught up in running their business and doing the day-to-day operations of their business, but they really don't have a clue on the marketing part of it. And there's traditional marketing, postcards, newsletters, websites and things like that. But you have to take it to another level. And we've got this through watching celebrities such as Barbara Corcoran, Dave Ramsey, and what they do. So as a small business owner and entrepreneur, you have to emulate the things that they do. And we call that the authority wheel, so to speak. And it's a code or a sequence of things that you must do as an entrepreneur to set yourself apart from your competition.
That makes sense. And I really like that approach you're taking there. And the very cool part about your book, The Authority Code, use the exact formula to become the haunted versus the haunter for more leads, sales, and profits. So it's always the best case when there is a formula that you can copy and paste. Can you share a few insights, T. Allen, about the formula?
Absolutely. So I always say that it starts with an interview. You do what celebrities do, or you do what important people do in the marketplace. So they're being interviewed. And with the advent of the podcast, there's no reason why you shouldn't be interviewed on several podcasts, because that's an opportunity for you to provide content. Part of being an authority is providing content that people can utilize and people can use regardless of them paying for it. So you provide this content through a podcast and being interviewed. And then, of course, the part of authority is author. You have to author content, develop articles, perhaps being published in a book or publishing your own book. So those are two important parts of the wheel.
That are very good points there to start out, I think, because a lot of people would like to position themselves as the expert in their niche, but then there is the question where to start and how to shape this image and become known as the expert.
Yes, and the challenge is that they stop or they don't consistently do that, to do those steps. It's not a one-off thing. It's just like creating content. You have to continually create and put out content so people can consume it. And let me give you an example. Let's say you want to remodel a part of your home. Let's say it's the kitchen. So most people will go out and they will ask their circle of influence if they know anyone that could help them remodel their kitchen. So the circle of influence will provide their name. And of course, the first thing somebody does is they'll Google the name to find out what it is that they're about. They won't Google their business name. So that's why it's important to have things out there that begin with your name. So they Google the name and they find items that their social media platforms, maybe their LinkedIn profile. And just for a note, your LinkedIn profile is the most authoritative site concerning your name. So it always comes up first on the search. So you want to make sure that's up to speed. And you want to make sure that you've got a professional picture there, and you want to make sure that it says how you help people. But if that's not there, that's not good. So I continue to look to see other social media platforms that you might have, and maybe there are some, and you're not participating on them, or you haven't posted in months, or maybe there's inappropriate pictures on your social media. So those are things that you have to be careful for. And if I continue to look and I don't find anything that says that you're the expert, I'll look elsewhere to find someone that can help me or solve my problem. But while I'm looking for that particular person, I come across someone else who has several interviews on podcasts and radio. They have a magazine that they're a feature writer for. They've done their own magazine. And in these magazines, they tell you step by step on how to remodel your kitchen. They even go as far as providing you a shopping list for you to actually go out and do it yourself. But most people are not wanting to do it themselves. They want a professional to do it for them. So those things are there. They've been on TV, they've been interviewed, they've been covered on a national television. Maybe they've spoken at a high-profile location. So all those things are there. So that creates a tipping point. So who are you going to pick? You're going to pick that person. Let's face it, if you're in the media and you're doing all these things, you are the expert.
That is so true. And what I like about the subtitle from your book a lot is becoming the haunted versus being the hunter. And it's really the best case, of course, when people are searching for you and coming to you instead of you being or chasing opportunities and chasing speaking events or whatever. So like to build yourself and then let things come to you. And I came across this very interesting equation that says be, do, have. What is your take on that?
Be, do, and have. Well, you have to enter the marketplace by providing content on helping people. Let's face it, you're solving a problem. And if people don't know that you can solve the problem, you're not going to succeed, or people are not going to find you, or people are not going to search you out. So continually providing content to help people is the number one thing. So you're probably saying, well, how do I do that? Oh, I don't have time. Well, there's several ways that you can do that, and having your own podcast is one way to do that. And so you have to continue to do that. You have to continue to produce this content, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Once you do a podcast, you can repurpose that in several different ways. You can take clips out of it. You can make short videos out of it. You can have it transcribed and make blog posts and so forth from that. So, those are important steps in being an expert.
I see. So I perceive this equation like you have to be this person first in your mind, and then it's about how you act, and this creates the results. But I think, you're so right with this, providing all this content. It starts in your mind first, right? So you have to approach it with the right mindset.
Yes, that's a great point. So there is an authority mindset. You have to believe that you're the authority, and you have to believe that you can help somebody solve a problem in the first place. So a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners have a challenge where they feel like they're an imposter, and they call that the imposter syndrome, where they think that they don't know enough to be the expert. And here's the truth of the matter. If you know just a little bit more than your target audience, you are in fact the expert in that context.
Very good secret tip here. So, T. Allen, what would you say from your book, what has, by the way, a really amazing cover? I like it. And also the word code, because it emphasizes that there is some secret, or you have to find the right elements and put it together to crack something, to get access to something, to approach the next level. So what are the biggest insights that the readers can take away from reading your book?
Well, the code is the formula that's repeatable. It's a repeatable formula, and the formula is done by the people that we see now in the media, the people that are attracting their target audience, or people that have a tribe, or people that are constantly seen in the media. And I love the story of Barbara Corcoran. Lots of you might know her as the Shark Tank. She's on the Shark Tank as an investor. It's an American TV show. And she started out where she had to let people know that she was in the real estate business. So she created a report called the Barbara Corcoran Report. And she simply talked about facts and figures of the New York real estate market, about how condominiums were selling and how the price of condominiums were and so forth. And this is back in the day where you had to physically mail things. So she mailed them to the top magazine editors in New York. And the New York Times picked it up. And the New York Times quoted from her report and published it in the New York Times. It says, New York real estate is at an all-time high, according to the Barbara Corcoran report. Well, now she was quoted in the New York Times, and TV producers were reaching out to her to come on TV and talk about it. So she immediately became an expert in the New York real estate market. And if you don't know the story, she started with $1,000 and then ended up selling her real estate empire for $66 million. So that's it. That's the first part of the code. Getting quoted by third-party people is the secret.
That is a really good secret, and I think a story that is almost magical, and it shows that everything is possible when you script it out in your mind first and believe in yourself and believe that you can actually do it. So, T. Allen, what I really like is that you now are about to write another book that I guess gets even deeper into the authority code, because it's called The Psychology Behind the Authority Code. And I guess we are touching the mindset here as well. So you are about to write it, but can you already share a few insights about this new book?
Yes, we already have it published. It's actually going to be a private offer where you're going to have to get that book directly from me. We're not going to publish it on Amazon or Kindle. And it goes deeper. The first two books, the first book was the authority mindset. It goes into basically what we just talked about making sure you believing in the fact that you are the expert and how to do that and how to position mentally in the marketplace. And then My second book, The Authority Code, I tell you about my story, and then I take you step by step using the code of the things that you need to do. You could basically take that book, follow it exactly, and accomplish what you need to accomplish, but you have to execute it. So this third book, The Psychology Behind the Authority Code, we go in and talk about why people make decisions and how subconsciously they make decisions on picking someone to do business with based on the code. So just for example, I mean, we use Dave Ramsey as an example. We call it the Dave Ramsey effect. So if you know anything about Dave Ramsey, where did he start? He started on the radio. He had a radio show. So he started targeting a certain niche. We call this micro-specializing. So he targeted people that were Christians, and they were in primarily his tour were churches, and these were people that were in debt that wanted to get out of debt. So he focused on that. So he micro-specialized, and then he provided content to teach them how to get out of debt. And those are the only people he serviced. So he also wrote books. He's written several books about how to do and how to get out of debt and so forth, targeted to this specific niche. So one aspect of it is when people see you and they think that you can relieve their problem, what creates a tipping point for them to pick you? So if I go to a regular website and the person's not published, the person's not having content to instruct them or train them on how to do what they're an expert in, and it's just a plain old wrapper website, there's a high probability that they're going to move on and you're not going to get picked because they want their solution or they want their problem fixed immediately. So I have a presentation also called how to be seen as the authority in the digital age economy, because we want instant gratification. I mean, you could spend days, those that remember in the United States, there was a store called Blockbuster where you could go in and rent videos and movies. Well, now we have Netflix. So you can instantly be satisfied with a movie. You don't have to physically go into a store and look around for a movie that you might want to watch. But you could spend a whole day in there. But now you go to Netflix and you can pick the movie. Well, the psychology behind Netflix is when you pick a movie, on the sidebar, if you notice, they're telling you what other people have watched or a series of movies that are similar to what you have watched. So they're setting you up for more purchases or more selections. So that's with Netflix. So take that with Amazon. If you notice when you make a purchase on Amazon, down below they say what other people have bought. And you can see the other books or the other audios and videos and things like that. Well, those are things that keep you longer on the website and to hopefully make an additional purchase. Or they see new releases, hot new releases at the top. So if people see that and they say, and psychologically they see, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And it's called the crowd effect. They want to do what the crowd is doing. So you can utilize those same, that's the psychology behind the authority code, those same techniques by using the media by creating content and having third-party recognition. And also I want to add on there is speaking on stage at prominent locations.
That is a very interesting, so that people would like to do the same as the crowd does, and also a clever trick to make people stay on a website. So T. Allen, let's say someone managed to really become an expert. How is it working to attract the ideal customers or clients, like people you really would like to work with?
That's a great example. And I can share with you a case study of a client of mine here in Houston where they came to see me speak about 4 times throughout the year. And they didn't make a purchase. But the 4th time, they made a purchase. And the reason why they came to see me 4 different times is because they was looking for consistency. They were looking to see if I would be there the following month or if I would continue to say the same things that I was saying. Well, the 4th month they made a purchase from me. We did an initial media package with them. We ran a bestseller. They'd already written a book. We ran a bestseller campaign and published their book. And then we did an article and published it on our magazine site. Now, this is a third-party interview, much like a Rolling Stone type interview, that talked about their expertise. And this particular person had been in business for about 25 years, and their expertise was SEO. And they were being looked at by a client to hire them to do some SEO work for them. Now, this person was obviously the expert and been in business for a long time, but they didn't have the elements that I just described for you. And we published the interview and provided the link to them and instructed them on how to leverage it. Well, when it came time for this client to reach out to see or to hire them, they were being shopped around. There was like 3 companies that they were considering. Well, at the last minute, my client forwarded them the link to the article, and he simply said that here's a recent article that had been done on our company, and here's the link. If you have an opportunity, take a look at it. And that was a tipping point enough for them to pick their company over the other 2 because they didn't have an article written about them from a third party. And that particular contract was worth over $80,000 for them. So, they had about $1,000 investment in a piece of the Authority code, which resulted in an $80,000 ROI. So that was a pretty good story.
That is amazing. So you would say, T. Allen, that it is very important to be consistent in what you are doing and know that sometimes it will take a little longer before people hire you or buy your expertise, but in the end, you will win when you are consistent.
Absolutely. That is the underlying key, is to consistently be working the authority wheel or the authority code. And just a couple other insights is your business has events. Now, when people think of events, they think of going to an event or having a seminar or something outside of their business. But there's things going on in your business that are considered events. Maybe you have a new product. Maybe you were nominated for an award. Maybe you brought on a new client. So those are all events. And those events are newsworthy. And the most underutilized part of the Authority code is a news release. And when you have a news release that's syndicated to major media that goes out to over 200 plus outlets, industry magazines, and so forth, you are putting out there 200 backlinks to your business, to your authority. So think about it. When you consistently do that, I mean, it just quadruples your online presence, and it's connected to your name. And then it all leads back to you, where somebody says, oh, this person has a news release, this person's doing this. So you're constantly informing your audience of what you're doing. And that's a key part of the Authority Code as well.
Very nice. So, T. Allen, your book, The Authority Code, is available on Amazon, but you mentioned that the new book is already ready, The Psychology Behind the Authority Code. Can you share with the listeners how to find the book, how to get the book?
Yes. If you email me at info@theauthoritysyndicate.com, info@theauthoritysyndicate.com, I'll respond and show you how to obtain the book. Like I said, it's going to be a private offering, and it's just going to transform your business and how you do business. So once you learn the psychology behind the Authority Code, you will not see marketing the same that you've always seen it. So this will definitely create tipping points for your business, especially for entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, and coaches. And, we have the ability to take someone from a radio interview to news releases, to major media, to magazine articles on our platforms, to being published, to being on TV, and to speaking on big stages.
Amazing. That sounds almost magical what you can do there. So, T. Allen, you're the business magician there, helping people to get to the top. So I would highly suggest for all the listeners to really get this new book through the private offer. So it's perfect because then that has something of a magical knowledge. It's not available for everyone out there by just going to Amazon and buy the knowledge. So I like that. And now let's talk a little bit about your great show, the T. Allen Hannes Show, your podcast. What can the listeners expect to listen to?
Yes, thank you. We have a new event. We were just added to iHeartRadio, so we're excited about that. You can find us on iHeartRadio at the Authority Syndicate Show. And also, we're syndicated on WCKG Chicago Business Innovators Radio Network. So what I do is I feature experts and business owners, and that's the first step of the formula, is being interviewed. And I always say it always starts with an interview. So being interviewed is, think about it. When you were growing up, you listened to the radio. Most people had radios, and you had favorite radio DJs or talk shows that you listened to. So it's the same concept. The playing field has been leveled for anyone to start their own radio show and become the authority and become the star in your own niche. So being a radio host is huge. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of the code, is consistently getting interviewed over various podcasts and radio shows, and then breaking off and doing your own radio show. And I might want to add that everybody's heard of Alexa, right? Alexa and artificial intelligence. So if you don't have an Alexa which is voice activated. Here's a future recommendation. You can get your content on those Alexas by voice command, and you have to create what's called a skill. And Amazon hosts your skill. People can download it into their Alexa app, and you can provide content and bite-sized pieces to your audience. And I currently have an Alexa skill, and that's available on Amazon. It's the T. Allen Haynes Marketing Minute with T. Allen Haynes. And it's a flash brief. It's what's called a flash brief. And when you download that into your Alexa, every day you can say, Alexa, play my flash brief. And all the flash briefs that you have will play. And that's a great way for you to position yourself as an authority, because it's just emerging, and that's the way of the future. So, yeah, we host experts. We love to host people that are solving problems. And then we use that as the beginning of the authority code.
Really cool. So I will also put a link in the show notes that direct the listeners to your show. So you mentioned iHeartRadio. For those who don't know yet, what is iHeartRadio and how to get there?
iHeartRadio is a major distribution point for content, music, podcasts. There's 71 million people that access iHeartRadio. And as I mentioned, my radio show just got approved to be hosted on that website. So if you go to iHeartRadio.com, you go to the search and you type in the Authority Syndicate show, it'll pull up my radio show, and then you can listen to my podcasts through there and my other content. So most of my content is distributed through Spreaker.com. So the Authority Syndicate show is actually hosted on Spreaker.com, and then it's distributed to those other sites, or syndicated to those other sites, such as the Business Innovators Radio Network, YouTube. It's also syndicated to WCKG in Chicago as well.
So I guess it's really easy to get access to the show and find you there online. And surprisingly, what is also very cool is that you are not only to be found online. There is a way to meet you offline and experience you as a speaker, because you do live events. Can you share a few information about that?
Yes, we found that speakers were not leveraging the fact that they spoke at a particular venue or were being invited to speak at large venues or venues that had significance. So this past March, we hosted several cryptocurrency CEOs in New York, Times Square, and they were invited to participate. And they were given the entire authority code. All the elements that were in the code was part of their package. Big stage to speak on, video of them speaking, high definition photography, and press releases on major platforms such as NASDAQ of them being at the event, pictures in Times Square with them in front of the NASDAQ tower with their picture on there as well. And this created so much content for them just by the fact that they were there and they were invited to speak. And each of them got to present their project on how they are using the blockchain and cryptocurrency to disrupt legacy businesses. So huge authority piece for these CEOs. So we're conducting those events in New York. There's two parts to it. There's the cryptocurrency part, and we call that the ICO the ICO Business Expert Profiles, New York. And then for non-cryptocurrency CEOs, we have the Expert Business Profiles, New York. So that's for others not into that category. So we bring them to New York. We do a special interview of them in Times Square and in New York. We do a live broadcast across Spreaker. We interview them for a Fox TV piece that gets on a Fox segment, and basically repeat the Authority code with that niche as well. So those are forthcoming. So we're really excited about that package.
That is so interesting. T. Allen, I think we covered a lot about Authority today, how to get there, how to attract your ideal clients. And now to wrap everything up, is there any favorite quote you'll like to share or anything else to leave the listeners inspired for today?
Favorite quote is, Dan Kennedy, he's the father of marketing. And he's always said, if you're not actively and consistently putting yourself out there and creating the image of you as a celebrity, you're asleep at the wheel. So I think, as a business owner and entrepreneur, these are important things that you have to be or you have to do to dominate your marketplace. And it's kind of in its own little category. Some people call it authority marketing. Some people, that's what it is. It's authority marketing. And it's basically the same process that the people that you see in the marketplace today that are standing out, it's all done by design. And you have to put that in place so you can design the outcome.
Very good advice. And I love the term authority marketing. I think this is very special. So T. Allen, thank you so much for being on Pure Mind Magic today, sharing all your business wisdom and insights about becoming an authority with us. And I'm looking forward to stay in contact with you and maybe even bring you back to the show.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on your show. I really, really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening today to Pure Mind Magic, and thanks T. Allen for sharing all your insights about the Authority Code with us. You will find all the links for the book in the show notes with this episode, as well as the gift tip with the new Kindel E-Reader that is waterproof and has Audible directly built in. Tomorrow, we are reaching already December 19th. And talking about experts today, I thought the next step would be to create quantum success around your business and your field of expertise. So I came across this book that came out in September this year, written by Christy Whitman, who is a 2 times New York Times best-selling author. And it was really not easy to get her on the show. And now I was pitched by her agency to have her on the show. So this is really nice, the coincidences that happen when you just wait for the perfect timing. So I thought it is the perfect timing to release this interview with her. Quantum Success is about the 7 essential laws for a thriving, joyful, and prosperous relationship with work and money. So we will talk about the law of attraction and also her first book that is called The Art of Having It All. I think this is really nice and magical, having it all, and she will let us know why we can have that. So we will tap into manifestation and achieving unimaginable success. This will have to do with thoughts, beliefs, and also environment. So you can imagine to listen to a very interesting episode tomorrow with Christy Whitman. Make sure to tune in to don't miss anything. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Pure Mind Magic. It is just one button for you wherever you are listening to this podcast. If it's on Podbean, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, just subscribe to the show, because with that you won't miss any of the new episodes, and there are really great episodes for Christmas coming up just for you to help you develop your mindset and create the life of your dreams. Talk to you tomorrow. Until then, create some magic.